BuzzFeed's been a dying company for years. We've known this, I knew this before I started, and they finally did a Thanos snap and boom, a bunch of teams and a bunch of channels got cut, chopped, eliminated, and my team was one of them. So basically, I got laid off with no warning and no severance. You might have seen me from the Plate to Date series, or the language tests, or the tier lists. I've done a lot at BuzzFeed. I shot videos with some of my favorite celebrities, Penn Badgley, Florence Pugh, Carol G, Big Time Rush. I turned my car into a recording studio, I ran a 5K in chainmail armor, I competed against US Marines in Call of Duty. It's crazy to see how all of this started as a silly little hobby. I didn't plan on coming to BuzzFeed. I wasn't even a BuzzFeed fan before I joined. While I was there, the Try Guys drama happened, and a bunch of people were messaging me asking for the inside tea, and I didn't even know who they were. How did I get here? I'll talk about that, and then I'll talk about my overall experience at BuzzFeed. I do want to point out some major issues. And then I know a lot of people make these why I left BuzzFeed videos, so I'll give my take on those, and then I'll talk about what's next. My background's actually in software engineering, and back in college, I went to Berkeley, and I basically dropped out, and I just did 5 internships. And when you drop out of school, you gotta make a diss track about your school. So my brother and I made this really corny rap song. It's really bad, please don't listen to it, but it got to like 200,000 streams on Spotify with no promotion. We made a music video for it, I edited it, and then I made a YouTube channel just for the music video. I pasted the link in a few Facebook meme pages, and somehow that got me my first 300 subscribers. I thought, why don't I try making YouTube videos? I quickly learned how YouTube works. I focused on tech content because I was doing a bunch of internships. I started gaining like tens of thousands of subscribers within my first few months. And then in 2020, I was going through a lot of stuff in my life, and I'll talk about that in another video, but basically I unlisted all of my YouTube videos and then later I put them back up, and that absolutely destroyed my channel. I stopped getting views, I stopped getting subscribers, and then I thought, if my tech channel is now dead, I might as well try making whatever kind of video I want. I did a bunch of interviews, I made some really low budget short films, and I tried making aesthetic cinematic vlogs, and eventually someone from BuzzFeed found my channel and she reached out to me. She had just left BuzzFeed to work on her own dating app startup, and she didn't reach out because of videos. She saw that I did software and she wanted my help with her startup. So I work with her team basically as a consultant on a contract basis. I help them iron out the core UX flow and features of their app. The founder and I got pretty tight, and she thought I should try working for BuzzFeed. She said she put in a good word for me. I didn't think much of it, but a while later, a BuzzFeed producer reached out to me and she contracted me to make these reaction style videos for BuzzFeed. It was so weird because it was the pandemic, so I would basically film them virtually. I would video chat, let's say, a teacher, and I would direct them in filming themselves with their phone. They would basically react to their students' TikToks. They would send me the footage, I would edit it, and BuzzFeed liked it. And then I made a coffee review video, and then these 3-day challenges, and then I moved on to bigger productions. I started this series that's now called Plate to Date. At the time, it was Date My Plate, and it was not fully original. People had done it before, but I ironed out this new format, this new way of doing it, and people loved it. Now, a bunch of channels copy it, which is kind of annoying. They copy it down to my exact thumbnail photoshopping style. The first episodes I shot in people's apartments. I casted everyone myself, and I used my own gear. BuzzFeed gear is honestly not that good. Eventually, I moved to New York to take the lead on some really cool projects in the BuzzFeed studios. I built this really huge network. I got a lot of really cool client work outside of BuzzFeed, and I was like, wow, making videos turned into a career. This whole experience taught me that with enough patience, I could turn something like a creative hobby into a full profession. When I just started YouTube, a lot of people insisted that I was distracted by making videos. People questioned, where would this even go, if anywhere? But still, I spent like up to 20 to 40 hours sometimes making videos. I would pull all-nighters just to meet my own posting schedule. I binged watched lessons about cameras, audio, lighting, editing, and I didn't have an exact plan, but I genuinely liked the process most of the time. And I felt like if I just got genuinely good at what I do, I could always figure something out along the way. I'd say it worked out really well, even with, how it ended. Okay, so when I watch these why I left BuzzFeed videos, people usually have one major complaint. They say, BuzzFeed doesn't give me ownership of my content. And it's like they expect their videos on BuzzFeed to be their own intellectual property, which really doesn't make sense, because when you work for a company, You are paid to make videos for them, right? You could have done this on your own. You didn't have to work at BuzzFeed, but people who end up working at BuzzFeed, they want the company, the salary, the company resources to basically hedge the risk of their videos not doing well. It's only in hindsight where you can say, this blew up, I should have owned this, I should have done this independently. But you only can say that now because BuzzFeed gave you the runway to try everything out. I myself, personally, I just like making videos, and BuzzFeed gave me a space to do that, and I'm really grateful for that. Oh, another thing, BuzzFeed has a casting team for finding people for videos, and honestly, they didn't always do a good job. So I usually casted all of my videos myself, and that was kind of a hack for meeting people when I first moved here. I met so many people, made so many friends just by casting for videos. But I do have some really major issues, or more like pieces of feedback for BuzzFeed. So for one, they never hired me full-time officially. And trust me, I asked them for full-time status many times and they said no. I was a freelancer for 3 years. I worked 40 hours a week consistently. I did have stable income. But it kind of stings because there would be times where other producers would ask me for advice, ask me for help. I would kind of mentor them, but they would be full-time employees and I wouldn't be, which is really annoying because I do have medical issues sometimes and I would have to leave work and I wouldn't get paid leave. And now the worst part, now that I've been cut, I've been laid off, I get no severance. This kind of shows what I think is the biggest issue with BuzzFeed. They don't seem to invest in their core talent. They try to cut corners and outsource their content to freelancers or just try to lean on the concepts or the repeatable formats. They think if we just spam these formats, we're gonna do really well. But BuzzFeed has always been a brand where people just watch to see their favorite stars. From Worth It to Unsolved to Try Guys, BuzzFeed has always been a talent-centric brand. Honestly, if they just let me do what I'm good at, I think I could have taken BuzzFeed so much farther. Like at one point, the higher-ups in the company asked me to pilot my own celebrity show. I think I would nail that, and they approved my pitches, but then managers below them would block me from entering Slack channels where I would connect with the right people. When I started hosting my own videos, executive producers would ask me to edit myself out of the videos as much as possible, just so that it's easier to replicate across different channels. Sure, maybe companies like Vox, Jubilee, Cut, they can pull this off. They have formats people love, they execute it well, and they don't need a star in them. BuzzFeed, as a creative entity, is simply, in my opinion, not good enough to execute that kind of a channel. They never have been. No one really clicks on a BuzzFeed video thinking, BuzzFeed probably nailed this. I bet it's like, oh, I like Stephen Lim. I like Inga Lam. BuzzFeed actually acquired Complex and they have big shows like Hot Ones, like Sneaker Shopping, and BuzzFeed never learned from them. People try to copy spicy food interviews or sneaker shopping all the time, but it doesn't matter. Why? Because people watch Hot Ones because Sean Evans. People watch Sneaker Shopping because JLP. Complex seems to invest in their talents, which is why they've stayed around for years and years and years. I don't know why BuzzFeed invests in the things that they do, because they hired me specifically as a YouTube producer, and then all of a sudden they're like, no more YouTube videos, and they switched me to just TikToks. Why? We can just make cheaper YouTube videos. Can you even monetize TikTok like that? Honestly, I kind of just joined BuzzFeed because I thought it'd be hilarious. I thought I'll just leave when it stops being funny to me, and 3 years in, it's still pretty funny. I'd introduce myself as, hey, I make BuzzFeed videos. That's hilarious. But all jokes aside, thank you, BuzzFeed, for blessing me with the time of my life these past 3 years. And I really mean that. I've learned so much. I've made so many memories, made so many friends, but I think I'm ready for the next step. I have been working on some other stuff too. So most recently, I've been doing software in the mental health field, basically using AI in clinical research to analyze speech and language samples, and then exploring how to use that to detect things like schizophrenia and psychosis. It's been really cool, but research doesn't pay that much. I'm not full-time and it's kind of slow, so I'm looking for new work. I'm pretty excited to go back into tech and resume my focus in software engineering. And I know the market's tough right now, but if anyone has a referral they can give me, or they know someone who's hiring, message me on Instagram. Finally, I don't think my own content journey ends with BuzzFeed. You know, when I got cut, my production crew stayed with me, and we want to keep making those same kinds of videos, but on a new channel, new platform. We're talking about maybe starting a production company. Stay tuned. And I also have my new channel right here. Thank you everyone for all the support, whether you found me on Tech YouTube years ago, my TikToks, on BuzzFeed. I appreciate everything. And also, as annoying as you are, thank you BuzzFeed for everything. Fuck you a little bit. But also, I appreciate everything BuzzFeed has given me. So, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you in the next one.